Are meditation and hypnosis the same thing? This is a question a lot of people ask. This is a really important question, and it's one that people don't really have that clear of a distinction on, generally because people don't really understand what meditation is and what hypnosis is. So let's answer that question right now. First of all, what is meditation? Meditation is a self-directed technique of learning and training your mind to focus on one point at a time. When it's done correctly, you don't need you don't need like a guru, you don't need a guided meditation even, although those can help to get started. You don't need anything except yourself and sitting there, training yourself to focus on one thing at a time. You don't need to focus on anything goofy even, or weird or mystical or anything. Usually I just like to focus on one tiny black dot imagined in my mind. The point is to train your brain to focus, which, by the way, is a skill that's in pretty short demand these days, as you might agree, or rather is in high demand because nobody has it. Our focus has been destroyed by the very device you're probably watching this on. But don't fear. Meditation has worked for people for thousands of years. It will continue to work for people thousands of years into the future. If you have a brain, then you are capable of developing it to its utmost through meditation. But like I said, nobody's there nobody has power over you. Nobody's there, kind of like influencing you. You're not, and so forth. In a lot of ways, I consider meditation actually a form of de-hypnosis. Because one of the things about the modern world, about our society is we're pretty much kept in a trance all day long. I mean, if you really think about it, you'll probably agree with me that you've been in a trance up till this moment. I mean, maybe you were browsing YouTube, maybe you were scrolling Instagram, maybe you were just kind of like going about your day, the same things that you do every day at work, etc., just kind of robotically in a trance. That's okay. That's the state that pretty much everyone is in. And sometimes we really mix it up by getting putting ourselves in like a more fun trance, like watching a movie or playing a video game, going to a sporting event. But whatever it is that we do in life, we're in some type of trance. And usually that's because we've done that activity over and over and over again, just like driving a car until it's autopilot and we don't have to focus about it and we can just tune out. And that's kind of a very cool thing about the human brain develops and learns, is that we master skills and then just don't even think about them anymore. But conversely, it also means that it's very easy for people to just kind of check out after a certain point and, not, realize that they've lost their ability to focus and therefore their control, in a sense, over their life. So meditation is a way of de-hypnotizing yourself, not just from the culture, but from your, or media or anything like that, but from your own sleeping state. So meditation is de-hypnosis when done correctly. It's a process of waking up out of the trance, the sleeping trance of day-to-day life. And this is nothing new. I mean, this is what the Buddha was telling people. It's what spiritual teachers have been telling people for thousands of years. And I don't even like the word spiritual, by the way, because I've always told people, it's like, what, am I trying to be Casper the effing ghost? I don't want to be a spirit. I want to be more of a human. I like the word, I would call it humanity instead of spirituality. I want to be fully awake as a full human, to fully use my human potential and not be in a trance all the time. That's what it's about. It's not about some, loopy idea of going to some other place where you're, Casper. I don't know. Conversely, what is hypnosis? So we've talked about trance a little bit. We've talked about how life kind of puts us into day-to-day trance. But of course, there is a specific practice called hypnosis that's been around for, I think, probably almost 2 centuries now. I mean, it's always been with us. It's something that the human brain can do. Hypnosis is generally when a hypnotist induces a trance within you, when they suggest to you that you should go into a trance, and somebody can be put into essentially a waking dream state, where it's kind of halfway between awake and asleep, and their conscious defenses are let down. Now, this is actually a really interesting thing. There's actually a lot of practical uses for it. Hypnosis can be used to learn faster. You can do self-hypnosis to change your mind quickly, to implant for instance, positive suggestions into your own mind, to implant ideas of goals you want to achieve in life, or it's sometimes even used in the medical field for pain control. Athletes use it for peak performance. Pilots use it. A lot of people use hypnosis for its beneficial effects. But there's a lot of misconceptions around hypnosis as well. One of them, and the most prominent one actually, is that somebody can hypnotize you against your will. And this is what we see in movies and what we're all afraid of. Oh, somebody's going to hypnotize me and then I'm going to not have control of myself. It's actually not possible. You can't hypnotize somebody who doesn't want to be hypnotized. The only time that people can be quote unquote hypnotized or go into a trance is if they consent, if they allow it, if they're working with a hypnotist and they decide they want to check it out and see what it's about. In that case, it becomes two people working together, just as if in a therapeutic session. Sometimes it's used in therapy to explore states like that. But you can't be put into a trance against your will. If you're dead set against not listening to somebody, then you're not going to be put into a trance. There is a bit of a problem with that in that there are some things like, for instance, the mass media that use hypnotic techniques, but they don't tell you they are. So all you have to do is watch the nightly news, and there's certain hypnotic things that are done, cues and suggestions and things like that, so that it's subtle and it's just under the radar, just enough so that you don't notice, and therefore it can be easy to be lulled into it. But and we have to watch out for that. And in general, my advice is, don't watch cable news and don't scroll Instagram too much, because even apps these days are designed with a certain hypnotic quality, and these tech companies have researched it quite a bit. But as far as full hypnotic trance, which, believe me, you'll know it if you see it, full hypnotic trance is a physiological phenomenon. It's literally it's like the lights going out on somebody and they'll suddenly go, almost cataleptic. It's impossible to miss. That cannot be done without somebody's full consent. You can't just walk up to somebody and, you're in a trance, Jedi mind trick. That's Hollywood. So I hope in a sense that's reassuring. Of course, we live in a world where people are trying to influence us all the time, subtly or overtly. And that means politicians, salespeople, media, obviously, art, music, movies, apps, technology, our significant other, family members, friends. I mean, everyone's trying to influence everyone else all the time. It's just kind of how human communication works. The problem is if you it's just like everything else in life. The only problem there comes when you forget who you are, when you lose the ability to influence yourself, when you go into enough of a kind of lull state that you forget what you're supposed to be doing with your life, and you just kind of get pulled around by the influence of other people. Charismatic individuals is a tricky one. YouTube personalities, podcasters, we won't name any names. And that's tricky, that's problematic. Thankfully, meditation is actually the solution to that. Like we were just saying at the beginning of this video, meditation is a process of de-hypnotizing yourself, of waking yourself up out of the cultural trance or the trance of being influenced by everyone around you. And not that stuff is like sinister or bad or a conspiracy. It's just that, to properly live life is all about becoming yourself. You need to be yourself. You need to be who you are, who you truly know that you are, who you're capable of becoming, and not what somebody else wants you to be, right? Because as soon as we go to sleep and allow somebody else to dictate the terms of our life, then, whatever we're doing benefits them, but not us necessarily, right? It's like, well, then they're in charge of your life. You want to be in charge of your life. Now, it's easier said than done. I mean, we all want to be totally in charge and live out our true wills, our true selves. But it turns out that it actually takes practice. And that's the good news, I think, which is that just like going to the gym, you can go to the gym to build muscle, you can meditate to develop mental strength and a strong sense of yourself and clarity about what you want in life, to de-hypnotize yourself. So meditation is the miraculous cure-all, in a sense, the philosopher's stone, the thing that allows you to, by practice, just like going to the gym, not by natural aptitude even, not by some spiritual grace, but by just practice, allows you to de-hypnotize yourself, wake up, and become the person that you're truly meant to be. All right, I teach all these techniques at magic.me, magick.me, and lots more. I will see you in class.